Yeah, I mean, I've been called dumb once or twice in my life.
Hey, back into it.
What's going on?
We back, baby.
Let's
Not
look-
that we've really been gone or anything, but you know.
We didn't go anywhere.
Can't go anywhere.
I went to my room. I went to the bathroom.
I did go outside.
Nice.
But we're back from the outside to the inside. But we're back inside wherever you're watching this.
And then all the way back up.
Whoa!
What's going on, everybody? I'm Nick.
I'm Kevin.
We are the Two Dumb Idiots. If you've never seen the show before, we're going to cover a bunch of goofy news that you probably missed. We are going to stick away from politics because that's not what we do here. You get inundated and smothered with that enough. If we say something wrong, factually inaccurate,
Too damn bad.
too damn bad. You know what you signed up for. The show is called Two Dumb Idiots. So let's get into it.
Speaking of, we got somebody in the chat. Was that Die?
Die.
We'll go with that.
Then
We'll go with that.
we'll go with that.
Usually, we like to give those folks.
You roll into the chat, you drop a comment, you say what's up, we say what's up back with a way cool air horn.
Yeah. You don't have. There's no air horn emotes.
No, not to mention if you roll into like a Target or like a, I don't know, like a grocery store and they were like, yo, Nick, you're back. Wah, 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 wah. I'd be like, yo, I'm never shopping anywhere else.
If there was a bar and you rolled in and they know your
Wow.
name and they're like, yo,
Yeah.
wow, wow, wow.
Press like a button, a little confetti pops up above your
I
head.
was thinking, you know how like sometimes you go to the sushi spot,
Yeah.
and they're all like they have like that greeting,
They always get excited
yeah,
when you walk in.
but it was an air horn instead.
It'd be
Yo, I'm in.
Except for the fact that once you sit down,
I don't care. I'm super pumped for anybody to show up.
you're sitting there like, hey, babe, I'm just really excited to have you out. All of a sudden, like a party of 20 comes in.
Yeah, I mean it's like, yo, Malk Wilson.
Wow, yeah, you get a Wilhelm
That's
scream.
what he wanted.
Oh, all right, cool.
He
That's
gets what he wants.
You get a Wilhelm scream. Yeah, I'm saying party of 20 comes in and ruin your
Yo,
whole
just
meal,
bang,
dude.
bang, 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 bang. I'd be coming in and out like.
Sounds like you're like a dubstep concert. Just wow,
Whatever.
wow, wow, wow. You're like, all right.
There's a DJ just like literally only job is the air horn. They're not even playing music.
Yeah, just bam, bam. All right, let's get into it, guys. We like to start the show positive. We also like to start out with a couple shout outs. And we've been shouting out this Twitch platform a little bit because they've been doing some lovely stuff. I wish Target celebrated me. Yeah, you roll in there every time.
So you want to shout out Twitch? You want to do the Twitch one first?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's shout out Twitch here. So Twitch, like I said, it's been really good for us here. It's been helping us find some viewers. It's, gives us commercial, gives us a small bit of revenue, a very small amount.
Apparently they are the undisputed champion
Of video game streaming.
Suck it, Mixer.
Suck it. And Mixer.
Yeah,
Are they
sucked
already
it.
in the toilet?
They already sucked it.
They already flushed down the toilet. Do we have like there we go. So very, very cool. A lot of their numbers have been coming out, and we've been sharing them. Been really, really happy. They were 31st on the websites used, right, or viewed every month, which was really, really cool. And Lamb pointed out to me, which is great, something that is kind of echoes the reason that I wanted to be a part of this platform in the first place, which is that there is a really cool connection between Twitch streamers and the viewers. And I think it's a connection that brings people back consistently. When I first got into it, it's a little weird kind of jumping into somebody's living room or their bedroom for a second. It's a little odd. But then once you start to watch the same people, you're like, hey, it's almost like having a good friend. You click in, you watch them, they say what's up. It's a very kind of personable experience. And especially during this quarantine, you can't get out as much. It's a kind of nice way to feel like you're hanging out, It's kind of like you and your buddies are watching games. So what numbers did you think were?
Some big numbers. They got, they average in 2020, they averaged 2 million concurrent viewers.
Wow.
At all times.
At all times, they had about 2 million viewers watching. That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Yeah. They said there's now 7 million streamers who broadcast on Twitch.
Each month. Nearly twice as many as there were before the pandemic. That makes sense.
I mean, yeah, we are trendsetters.
Yeah, we're very trendy. It's the only reason we're doing it because of the pandemic.
And then this one I thought was monthly hours watched on Twitch. So pre-pandemic, right here at about a billion.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemic hits, boom, skyrockets to like 1.7 bill.
And it stayed
and then
there.
stayed there pretty much that entire time.
And then still, kind of slowly on the up climb again.
Yeah.
So the numbers are really good. I am somebody, this is personal for me and Lamb. It's a product that we use. It's a service that we use. Also, give ourselves a shout out. We just hit 200 followers on Twitch, so we're giving ourselves a little air horn for ourselves. They're very, very excited.
Little baby air horn.
Yeah, little
for us.
baby horn. We're very excited. It's a platform that we use and has been really good for us. So we want to share kind of the stats with them. All right, let's move on. Our first spot. Go ahead.
I just saw this. 2/3 of Twitch viewers live in a country other than the U.S.
That surprises me a little bit, but I do know, like, if you click into, like,
huge.
chatting,
It's getting huge in other countries,
it's just
which I love.
all sorts of languages. You can kind of pick which language you want to listen to and all that kind of stuff. So we like to start the show positive, so we got 2 positive stories for you guys to start off the bat. First one, Lamb brought to the table. Lamb, I'll go ahead and drop it on him.
All right, so Wall Street Bets, if you don't know, we had on Friday, we talked a little bit about this GameStop and stonks and all the rest. Apparently, some of the people out there that made some money,
Some moolah
on the stocks going to the roof have decided to do some good things with it. One of the guys right here decided to make a stop at a GameStop, make a purchase, support the actual business as well, and then bought 6 Nintendo Switches, a ton of games, and dropped them all off at the Children's Hospital.
Really, really cool. I love this guy. I at least have to ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
Does that mean he sold some of his stock?
He did. He said he sold off and he's keeping 50. Like
Okay.
he has 50 full shares,
Okay.
and that's what he's gonna ride or die with.
Okay, a real quick question again. This is and I know this is not kind of odd just to ask off the bat, but I know it was at like $4 or $5, right? And then it went to like $20, $30, right? Where is it sit now? 300?
Currently, it's between 250 and 300. It is maxed out at about 450.
Okay, so if you're in there, wow. Okay, so I'm just not trying to figure out how much people actually made on this.
So if you had a $5 stock, we'll say it went up to 500, even though it didn't.
Yeah.
So 100 times as much money as you put in.
Wow.
So you put $1,000 in, you had $100,000.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, it's kind of perspective here. So this kid put in $10. I mean, and he maybe
his grandma bought it for him for his birthday like 20 years ago. He's in stocks.
Yeah, maybe
In your video game company you like.
I think it's cool that, like you said, they actually supported the brick and mortar.
Yeah, he didn't go to like Amazon and buy these.
That really would. I mean, you say it, but like,
Yeah.
he could have easily done that by accident, right?
Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah. Not the only person to do that, though, right?
No.
Don't we have another story the same way? So another guy, Minnesota man, he used his earnings to donate to a children's hospital in Minnesota. So the only reason we point out this story for 2 reasons. One, if we're going to take a big fat on the millionaires and the billionaires for not giving money out, what I like to showcase, and you, Sue, as well, is all of a sudden you give the regular man an extra 10, 20, 30 grand in their pocket, and the first thing they want to do with it is go and donate it somewhere.
Yeah.
It just shows you that, you know, people that don't have, a lot of times the second they do have, they want to turn back around and pick somebody back up. And I think that's I think it's admirable, because I got to be blunt with you. It's like when I hear, oh, this person made 30 grand and he gave half of it away to charity. It's like, I mean, that's great. That's good for that guy. But I don't even know if I have that in me, right? It's like, it's tough for me to.
I know. It's like, I got bills. I got things that need to be paid off.
Right. So I just, like I said, I just want to shout these people out, because they could have easily taken their money, gloated, bought a boat, and sent you a picture with champagne, and when they were out, like,
suck it, hedge fund.
Right.
Name of the boat.
But they didn't. They bought kids shit. So big shout out to those mother suckers. All right.
One more good one.
One more good story, and then we're gonna get into some farts and dicks. Maybe dicks and farts. Actually, let me reverse that.
Yeah, that is the standard order.
Right, standard order.
So you brought this one up.
Love it.
But apparently, Corona out there realizing that the turtles they're dying.
They're dying.
And you and I have talked about this before. Like there was some sort of like public service announcement when we were kids, and it was about like something getting stuck, like the ring around like a duck's neck or something like that, and like cut these rings.
Yeah.
And to this day, I do it.
I still do it. I still to this very day.
Yeah.
Jesus, why did this take so long? I couldn't agree with you more. I'll tell you what's interesting. This was actually the idea for an edible six-pack. What would you even call that?
Ring, they calls it.
Okay. The edible six-pack ring was actually invented a couple of years ago, and then I believe Corona put it into testing in 2019, and now I think it's actually going to be a permanent staple. For me, though, first off, unbelievable idea. I mean, actually, like, the idea that I could litter and be like a good person is crazy to me.
Listen, officer,
Like,
I'm helping the environment.
It reminds me. Like,
I'm green here, buddy. You relax.
I've told you this story before. We got pulled over on a boat with my dad, and the boating police jack-offs. We were drinking beers, and they said, we want to see every single bottle cap that you guys open to make sure you're not throwing them overboard. So then, cops a prick. We got to start digging through the boat and finding bottle caps, which we did. This is one of those situations. He sees me throw that overboard. I'm going to have to pull up an article to back up my stuff.
Be like, trust me, bro. It's fish food.
Let me explain something, officer. I've done more for these fish today than you have. You understand?
Yeah, you're out here polluting the water.
Yeah.
Driving your motor all the time.
Yeah, oil leaking everywhere.
out.
No, I think that's wonderful all by itself, but I also really like kind of the trend in that direction. Imagine I mean, seriously, if that's the case with plastic, why does this not domino into a lot of other things we use? We're sitting here as a planet I've heard this
To-go containers.
Right. I've heard people say, why don't we just send our trash to space? That's like the number one idea.
Shoot it to the sun and blow it up.
Right. It's like, why can't we just make it edible? You know what I mean? Like,
I get that there's some stuff like...
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm jealous of this, but we did talk about this, like, it has this one little like lane of like maybe I shouldn't do like you shouldn't just like offer like to people like yo just throw it in the ocean when you're done with it.
People, you set that precedent. People just start throwing like couches,
everything, like that. Just throw in the ocean.
Just throw in the ocean.
Yo, my couch cushions are made out of this fish food.
It's got to be edible, right? No. Just this thing is edible. Yeah, we don't want people thinking like everything they eat or drink as soon as they're done with it, they can just tuck it into like any water source that's nearby.
There's a lake by your house just full of junk.
Right, that's not quite the way it works. But I do like the idea. I can't believe it took so long as well. But I like the trend, man. I like where this is going. I think it's. I think, you know, what is the phrase? You know, invention is kind of a product of necessity or something like that. And we needed a solution to this because it's not like they were going to start serving you beer cans any other way. And this is brilliant, man. This is actually brilliant. Like,
the cans are recyclable. The bottles are recyclable.
Yeah. It's
why can't we just put them in a thing that's also recyclable?
It's a win-win-win all the way across the board. All right, let's get in. That's our positive story for the start of the show there today. Let's get into our first big story, and it's kind of a multi-pronged story with a lot of jib-jab. And if you guys have an opinion one way or the other, if we're missing a fact one way or the other, if there's something new, up to date we're missing, please, like I said, these are all within like the last 3 or 4 days, these news articles. Please share it with us because this is something that affects every single one. I think everybody that I know anyway. I mean, this is not a net that doesn't catch everybody in it. I
do like the plates, dessert plate.
I saw that.
Different flavors.
I mean, let's talk about.
You're telling me like that thing's a giant cookie? I'm in.
Willy Wonka laid out the blueprint like 40 years ago, dude. He said, look, all you got to do is make everything edible.
I actually did go years and years ago. I went on a trip to Costa Rica, and it was like a group tour. And one of the guys on the tour, his company made edible spoons.
Like why is that not a thing?
He was a millionaire, so apparently it's a thing. But they were like specifically, at least at the time, were designed mainly for like parties.
Okay.
So the hors d'oeuvres were served on edible spoons.
That's a great idea. I love that.
And you just like pop the whole thing in your mouth.
Perishability, I think, is probably at least one of the number one problems with that kind of idea. But it reminds me of like this little weird factoid that I'll never forget, which is if you buy an apple and they have the sticker on it, apparently the sticker is supposed to be consumable. It's supposed to be made of sugar so that if somebody eats it, it's supposed to be, you can eat it just fine. It seems like the technology is there. They're making stickers. We got plastic. Everything should be edible going forward.
Not necessarily edible.
Give me this can right now.
Yeah, you just eat your way through it. It's fine.
All right, let's get into
your favorite guy.
Let's start
apparently. Actually, he's going to get the babiest of baby air horns.
Okay. Wow, that might be the lowest air horn we've ever dropped on the show.
Because that's all I can ever give this robot face.
If you had put up 10 people on the screen and said which one of these doesn't have a soul, that would be
or
him.
Which one of these is not a real person. Yeah. Like he's on like that uncanny valley.
He is so
like
creepy.
Where he's like he's close to human, but he's not quite there yet.
What it reminds me of is a lot of times you'll meet people and they're able to disguise their weirdness a little bit better. He's somebody that is so unabashed about how creepy he is and how horrible of a person he is. He doesn't even care. Anyway, before we continue to just go too hard on this guy, which I probably will all day anyway, Facebook has decided to stop recommending civic and political groups. It is something that, in my opinion, is actually a good thing. The U.S. election, we had a lot of issues with it. We are at a point in the country where we're most divided as we probably have ever been. He wants to make sure the communities, this is Mark Zuckerberg saying this, he wants to make sure the communities people connect with are healthy and positive. There are a lot of groups that we may not want to encourage people to join, even if they don't violate our policies. Let me start off just with a basic question. Do you think you can show up at your family's Thanksgiving now?
I feel like things have I can take a deeper breath.
Right. No. Okay. Real question. Real question. Do you think this is a step in the right direction, and do you have any fear that it's in any way censoring?
As long as it's equal, it's not censoring.
Okay.
If they're saying we've chosen these 42 groups to not promote,
Okay.
that's not okay.
Okay.
Good or bad. They might have the best intentions in the world.
Yeah.
But if you start doing stuff where they get to choose, that's where I have the issues.
Yes.
If they just go, all right, these groups, if you search them, you can find them, and that's fine, but we are not going to ever put them into your feed for you.
Okay. Fair. Would you say this is something that's overdue? And I guess my second part of that question for you would be, years ago, way before I was alive, back in your day. No,
Back when I remember before Facebook, I actually had to get invited. I had to use my college code to get invited to Facebook. That's how old I am.
That's the only reason I joined Facebook, because I was told it was only for college kids. That's legitimately the true story. Back in the old days, it was a very common expression that you leave politics at the door, you don't talk politics at the table, you don't talk politics at work, you don't talk politics with your friends, all this jib jab about you don't talk politics in all these different places. But for some reason, Facebook was always allowed. Facebook to me is it's like a big dinner table, right? It's all of the people you've ever known.
Except you didn't get to pick who's invited.
Right, that's fair, right. Everybody just showed up at your house. It was like, yo.
It's like when you said you were having like 5 people over in high school.
That's right.
And everybody showed up and you're like, what are you doing here?
That's right.
You are not welcome here.
The only difference was I told my mom I was having 5 people over, and I knew there was going to be 30.
Well, yeah, I always knew there was more than that. But you were just like, but people always showed that you were like, how did it even get down to you?
Yeah, right. So, you have a dinner table now of 1,000 of your closest friends, and they all have an opinion on politics, and they're all at the point now where I think this is also really important to state. I would say 80% of the reason it gets so contentious is that there's that invisible barrier. It's something that you would never say. Most of the time, it's not that you wouldn't say it. It's that you would be courteous about the way you said it. You wouldn't want to offend somebody. You would say, okay, well, I slightly disagree with you. On Facebook, it's like, F you and everybody you know. And it's like, wow, dude. Like, you wouldn't say that to my face, right? You wouldn't say that around me.
I don't know why, but in my head, I just pictured, you know how when people tag, like, a comment, they'll post another article, like, different opinions. I'm just imagining being at the dinner table and somebody literally, like, pulling out, like, a printed, like, paper of the article and be like, oh, here's some reading material for you.
And he responds.
Just like back and forth.
No, I think this is a really good step. I'm going to be honest with you. If Facebook goes back to, hey, let me see maybe your vacation pictures, and hey, you commenting on things that aren't related and all that kind of stuff, I think that's a really good start. I have some stats here, and I'm gonna ask you a stat real quick. Actually, just I have a little question here. I'm gonna probably pepper these in.
Okay. The answer is yes.
Damn it! All right, another question. No. What percentage of Facebook has admittedly said that they get their primary news from Facebook?
I always have to skew these things to people that answer polls.
Right, because people lie.
Well, no, just the people willing to answer a poll.
That's true,
first
too.
off.
That's
like, who's like, oh, would you like to take a quick survey when you're leaving the grocery store? And you're like, yes, absolutely. I love surveys.
I hate surveys.
I need to share my information. So I'm going to say solely.
It says primarily.
Primarily. I'm going to say 43%.
You are within very, very close. You're within 7%. 36% people admittedly said that they get their primary news from Facebook. The reason I bring that stat up is of how unbelievably stupid that is, and how unbelievably toxic that is.
It's on the internet. It must be true.
Right. It's so stupid. I mean, that literally includes like memes and junk and crap that people are sharing. So my point with that is if less people are involved in these toxic groups where people are kind of sharing misinformation, the misinformation is what gets people so wild up in the first place, wound up all excited about something, and then they come in and they kind of regurgitate that junk. I guess 65%. Yeah, it feels like 65%, and I agree with you. I feel
primary is where I'm saying, like, I think those people might get it from a different primary source.
Agreed. I love this idea. I think what happens is, and I think he actually, unfortunately, I have to admit that he phrased it the right way. He said, where does he say this right here? He says he wants to turn down the temperature. Basically, I can't find it, but he says basically I want to turn. Oh, there it is. We have a work we've been doing for a while to turn down the temperature and discourage divisive conversations in communities. I don't think the internet is the best place to go head to head about politics. I just don't. It doesn't. You don't have. I think in a real heaty conversation, you want that 10-minute back and forth with a lot of talking, and then finally you reach a point where there's some kind of meeting in the middle. 2 jibby jabs real quick on Facebook, you're never going to resolve anything. So I don't think it's the right place for it, and I think it's good for them to kind of remove themselves. They're not removing these pages. They're just not recommending that people like join them. So I think it looks like a really nice thing they did, but I think it's a very, very, very small step, in my opinion.
But I do think it's at least a step.
Fair enough. All right, but that also isn't...
So, as the song goes, sometimes Facebook takes 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
That's right. Very common phrase with Facebook.
Yeah. Apparently, Apple coming out with some new tech. Their new iOS, the new phone, the new iPad, all the operating system. I think it's iOS 14, if I'm not mistaken, is going to have a new feature involved. Apparently, they have
panoramic pictures.
Yeah, that's it. They got it. They figured it out finally.
That was a terrible iPhone joke. I just always remember
that was the big thing that they could do panoramas.
It was like 10 years ago, and I had been rocking like a Samsung, and I've been taking panoramic pictures for like 3 years. And somebody came up, he's like, "Why don't you use iPhone?" And I was like, "I don't know, I just never switched." And they were like, "You know, the new iPhone's about to have panoramic pictures." And I was like, "Yeah, mine already has that for like a really long time." But
my phone that's about to break has it.
But as I said,
so old.
Apple has moved a lot further, and they probably are equal as everybody
But
else.
one thing Apple does take seriously is privacy. They've always taken privacy very seriously with a lot of people.
I know a lot of people have switched because of that.
Yeah. And because of that, they're they're a little tired of basically everybody stealing your data without your permission.
Right.
Or without any ability to opt out of it. Like when WhatsApp changed their things, it's like, all right, we're going to use all your data now.
Yeah.
Or you could not use WhatsApp. Those are your choices.
And people bailed to a new app called Signal, and people jumped out of it.
And so they immediately backpedaled. But the new Apple one is going to have all third-party apps, like Facebook, cannot collect data unless people opt in on their phone at a hardware level.
Okay. I love this.
Probably software level within the phone.
I have never got involved in the Mac, the Apples, any of this. And this is a step that makes me want to pull in.
This is for the longest time, I wasn't in Apple initially because it was AT&T only. I wasn't AT&T. And then they always had battery issues and they were kind of behind. Now all smartphones are basically the same at a level, like where they'll all do everything.
Right.
This is enough for me to consider maybe a switch.
I 100% agree. I'm going to ask you another. I got another quiz question for you. What percentage of people think that Facebook protects their data efficiently, their privacy?
How many people are over the age of 45?
Are you saying people over 45 are stupid?
I'm saying they're less aware of the technological, actual ramifications of what's going on.
Did y'all hear that? Verbatim. Lamb just said people over 40 are dumb as hell.
45.
Oh, 45. Sorry.
And I'm getting there.
I misquoted you
better
already.
Not be 40 because I'm getting there real soon. I immediately just forget everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does technology work?
How do I turn my font up to really big on my phone? That's when you know you're old, dude.
Yeah.
If your font on your phone is twice as big as
if
everybody
I
else,
can see it when you're in the other room and I'm reading your text,
yeah, you're old as
not
shit.
good.
That's just what it means. Okay, real talk. What percentage of Facebook users think that Facebook efficiently protects their privacy and information?
62%.
Very close, 53%. So over half, about half.
And they're all wrong.
And they're all wrong. Actually, but that is really the crux of this for me, in the sense of people aren't going to switch if they already think that what they're doing is safe. And so that is really shocking to me, that information hasn't seeped through to people yet, and they haven't garnered the fact that
Facebook's paying a lot of money to make sure people think that stuff is safe.
I know, and that's interesting that people, that's interesting to me. Like, okay, you maybe not trust certain news organizations, but I think you're kind of a knucklehead if you directly listen to the company's claim about their kind of stuff. You might want to check other sources about that.
The number one thing you always have to think, in my mind, is if it's free, the company needs to make money somehow.
Correct.
How is that company making money?
Unless they're a startup trying to get you bought in like Venmo and stuff did, but right.
Yeah, but still.
Primarily, correct.
Like, they need to make money.
Right.
How are they making money?
Right. Now, what was their argument back?
So this was my favorite part. Their argument back was that they need to be able to, if they get the information from people, they can tailor ads to people so they get the correct ads, and they can help businesses that require advertising, like to be able to access more people to advertise.
Okay. Do you think that... Let me ask you this. As a user, do you care if your ads are basically perfectly for you?
No, that's way more likely I'm going to buy something.
I 100% agree. And I also, God, this is real talk. I mean, I had all these quizzes. I was going to ask you a quiz, and you literally just keep stepping on the question. So it's actually, like, in a good way. Kind of funny.
Hey!
What is that?
Katie Moto just subscribed. We got a new little emote in case you're wondering.
Yeah, the
SpongeBob's dancing for you.
Oh, that's Katie. Katie, what's going on? Let's get you first subscriber of the stream. Appreciate that. I appreciate
5 months.
Well, yeah, you're a 5-month streamer now. You get a badge or something. That's very, very cool. Very much appreciated. Thank you for tuning in. Love it.
So I have a question coming my way.
That's right. Sorry, my phone's waking
Well,
out.
while you're saying that, they were saying Facebook is saying that this alone, the opt-in thing, could result in a 7% revenue loss for Facebook.
Wow.
Just this.
That's surprising to me because, I mean,
because they're still going to have ads.
I
they're just not targeted.
Right. I'm just saying I would surprise me that's not more than that.
But I'm saying because all the ads are still there.
Still there.
They're just not getting targeted. So it's
okay,
not like...
But that's my... Okay, but that even furthers our point.
Yeah.
So, right, that's the number right there. The number is if Facebook would take 7% less money, then they wouldn't need my information. Is that right?
So they're making an extra 7% by stealing all my data, too. On top of... and 7% of Facebook revenue is real dollars.
Am I missaying that? Like, okay, is that... Or am I saying, is it like a scale? Is it like gradually from here is going to get worse for them?
Well... I think with Facebook, there's going to be like a number of ads that they sell, and they get that money flat out.
Right.
Like they sell 1 million ads, and they get $1 million, whatever. Right. But then there's also clicks. Like if your ad gets clicked on, I think Facebook gets a little more money.
That's true.
And if somebody buys something from that ad, Facebook gets even more. So it's like their targeting actually benefits them too.
I understand that. I really do. But I'm saying if you like really ask your users, hey, you know, is it okay if some of you don't want us to use it, and that's fine. That tells me that, like, okay, let's say even half people say, like, nah, I don't want to use it. But the other half, like, yeah, that's cool if you use my information. That's a 3.5% cut now. That's just not that big enough, in my opinion, to not have your company be reputable. How many times do you click on a Facebook ad every month, if you had to guess?
I would say more often than I think, probably.
Okay.
Because half the time they don't realize it's a sponsored thing.
Right.
So they're not necessarily like selling me something, but it's like a product or a service or something. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'd say once, maybe twice a month.
Okay, so yeah, I would be curious if that counts because like I know Instagram is now theirs, but I would be curious if that counts only in the sense of like when I'm on Instagram, sometimes they'll recommend something and I'll like oh, how about the sports page, and I'll click on it, but I didn't buy anything from them, so I hope they're not getting revenue taken away from there. How many on average per month? How many clicks does an average Facebooker click on an ad?
How many ads do they click on?
Per month, an average Facebook user.
I'm going to say 2 a day. I'm going to say 24. 2 a day.
2 a day. Cut in half. So 12.
12.
Okay, so 12 ads a day a normal person clicks on in Facebook. That's a lot higher than
12 a day?
I'm sorry, 12 a month. Sorry.
Okay.
12 a month on Facebook. That seems like a lot to me. That seems a lot more than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like 6 or 5. You know, people were kind of clicking by accident. What percentage of people in the last year have made a purchase directly through Facebook?
I'm going to say 32%.
Okay. Everything you're doing is almost doubled. So 18%. 18% of people have made a purchase directly through Facebook. Now, if I'm not counting them buying an ad for their own product and they actually bought something, I legitimately have never done that. Like, I don't even know. Did anybody in here ever bought something directly through Facebook? Has anybody been like, oh my God, this is my clothing line, and you just clicked and bought it? Because I can't even think how that operates. I wasn't even aware that was like I
have clicked on people's charities.
Okay.
done that. So
Okay.
that goes through Facebook. So I don't
Okay.
know if that counts.
Yeah, I don't know if charities count.
And people I know. I think I've like not necessarily maybe purchased something but I've done something.
But that's a fifth of their users.
Yeah.
That's a lot more than I would expect.
Yeah.
That's a lot more than I expect. Not to mention, like you always say, people take polls are a bunch of lying sacks of shit anyway. So it's like I would imagine that number's probably higher than it actually is. And I would imagine a lot of people forget stuff they've even bought. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I might be saying no and actually have bought something.
Right. No, 100%.
Like just because I guess it counts if I like I donated Travis's wife the other day through Facebook.
Okay. And so, yeah. Oh, I guess that counts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, there you go. So, to me, this by Apple, I think, is a really cool stance. But my question, I guess, going forward is, can they legitimately hold that stance? And I don't know the legalities.
I think they're the only company that can.
That has the power to.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
They'll literally be like, we won't ship Facebook on iPhones.
Yeah. Now, I guess I would have to ask you this. Why would Apple not contact Facebook beforehand about this?
I'm sure there was discussions.
Okay. Yeah, probably, right? I mean, there had to be something, right? In its fiercest opposition yet, Facebook said Monday it would send out its own prompt directly countering Apple's, telling users that collecting such data allows for more personalized ads. Facebook is so unbelievably out of touch with the temperature in the room. They're like, oh, you know what? We'll do? We'll send them another piece of information. We'll let them know that, like, actually them giving us information is good. It's not even like they think like, oh, people don't like this, we should adjust. They're like, no. We've got to talk them into continuing to do it. That just tells me that like that's a company so out of touch. It's like people like the fact that they don't have to give you any information. I don't know.
They're already pumping information into your system.
Right.
There's no way that like Facebook isn't allowed to access the information you type in.
Right.
The things you like.
Right.
They obviously get that information. The thing, like your own personal information, where you're at. Like, I'm sure I get ads for LA, like LA food places.
Yeah.
You know, it's not sending me like a New York City, like best restaurants.
Right.
List.
Facebook argues that if users opt out, they will see fewer ads. The ads will be just less relevant. They won't see fewer ads. So you're still going to get the same ads. There's still a lot of ads. They'll be less relevant. At the same time, small businesses would lose some of their ability to serve hyper-targeted ads, forcing some to raise prices or turn to subscription model. First off, that's a junky thing to say. That's basically like, we're here to support small business.
Yeah, you're going to ruin small business if you don't do that.
That's a really cruddy thing for them to say.
Not us.
Not us. From taking like a massive percentage from them. You guys from not buying their stuff. First off. Second off, that means you're still going to get the same ads, which means those small businesses are still going to advertise to people. And like I said, maybe there is some small cutoff here. But I just find that statement to me seemed like them dropping some bomb, like you're some horrible human being. Facebook and Apple have been on a collision course since Apple made the app tracking transparency announcement over the summer. They've kind of been going head-to-head a little bit already.
You got to read what Tim Cook said here.
What'd he say?
So, Tim Cook, Apple CEO, said, if a business is built on misleading users on data exploitation or choices that are no choices at all, then it does not deserve our praise.
And I think that deserves a horn. I think that's really well said.
Our boy Tim Cook out there.
If your business makes money on deceiving people, then I think you basically have a shitty foundation. There's a massive hole in your company, and I can't wait till the day in which that hole is exposed. This is something that I think is already being exposed. This is a laughable. This is another quote. This is a laughable attempt from Facebook to distract you from its poor track record of anti-competitive behavior and privacy issues as it tries to derail pro-privacy changes from Apple that are bad for Facebook's business. Requiring trackers to request your consent before stalking you across the internet should be an obvious baseline, and we applaud Apple for this change. That is what I wanted to say. That should be the baseline. You start an app and they say, is it cool if we use your shit?
Yeah.
And you say, nah, or hell yeah, I don't got anything to hide, as most people seem to say. Real quick, another question for you, Lamb. Of the U.S. population over the age of 12, what percentage of them are aware of Facebook? Just aware.
U.S.?
Of the U.S. over the age of 12.
I got to say like 98%.
Very close, 95%. So 5% of America is not aware of Facebook.
How many Amish people are there?
That's very true. What percent of Canadians have a Facebook?
82%.
Yeah, it's unbelievably weird. 83%.
Hey!
Malcolm wants us to read the exact article from that whole thing. We're not going to do it on air, but maybe we will jump into it. I just think the whole thing is fascinating. It's a wonderful discussion. I love that Apple's setting this precedent. As far as the company goes, they're earning my praise. And I'm saying if Google and Samsung and everybody else wants to earn some praise, they need to hop on this bandwagon and start letting people know that they care about their people.
Now, they always call it the Apple tax or whatever. Like, Apple products are a little pricier than, if this is a real thing.
Right. Yeah.
It's starting to look worth it.
I 100% agree. Now, this is something we're not going to get into much, but this kind of correlates, which is that social media damages teenagers' mental health. This report was put out the other day. 1 in 3 girls was unhappy with their personal appearance by the age of 14, compared with 1 in 7 at the end of primary school. The number of young people with probable mental illness has risen from 1 in 6, up from 1 in 9.
3 years?
Over 3 years, it's up 33%. And I don't want to get too deep in this because our show tends to be a little bit more positive. Boys even at primary school had lower self-esteem at 14 than their peers. My point is that Facebook is now talking about, oh yeah, maybe we'll back off some of the political stuff. But I'm saying in general, using their platforms less and less and less is only good for everybody going forward. And you've even said as a teacher that you've seen some of this leak into the classroom.
Yeah, I mean, cyberbullying is a real thing.
Yeah.
We have like consequences of it all the time. Parents calling in, letting us know that there's this, or sending us like a screenshot. This was said, this was done, this was posted. We're having issues now with Zoom, people screenshotting.
Yeah.
I didn't even think, it doesn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
But like some of the kids are like, I was like, why don't you want to be like have your cameras on? We've talked about them not wanting to have their cameras on. And they're like, well, people screenshot us and then make memes out of it or whatever.
Right.
And
So
I was just like,
right.
like, is that what, like, I couldn't even imagine that, like, when I was a kid, like, somebody taking a photo of you and being able to put it out to millions of people with, like, dumb things and make it, like, make Photoshop it and, like, do whatever to it.
People start making fun of you just because somebody else made a picture of you. Right. I mean, I think comparing yourself to every other person every single day is obviously toxic. So, for me, I would like to see these companies just dial back the amount of usage in general. Like I said, starting with, I guess, privacy is a start for them. But as a rule of thumb, I don't want them finding more ways to keep me on the hook. And younger generation specifically. So if they have less of that information available, then I think people will be less likely to continue to kind of go for that loop. But that's just my opinion. All right, let's get out of there. Let's get into some dumbass shit like we like to do here. This is about 2 days old, 3 days old. We wanted to share it last week, but we didn't have time.
Don't you want to hit your button? I know you love your buttons.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, that button.
What was
That's
that? Whoa, that is so loud. What is that? Okay.
This button.
Oh, this button, yeah. There's got to be something good in here. Let's do a little grab bag with you guys. We got like 3 or 4 just junky ass stories that we love to laugh at. This was one of my favorites of the week. Jeopardy asked what I thought might have been the softball question of the year.
For the $1,000 question.
For the $1,000 question, and these smart-ass knuckleheads had no idea. Let's watch here. Let's turn this up a little bit.
He was.
Funny Business 2000.
This comedian displayed his drama chops in A Star is Born, playing Bradley Cooper's longtime friend. That's Dave Chappelle.
Can't drink about that's Dave Chappelle. Like,
First off,
$2,000 question. I thought it was the $1,000 question in the first round.
not a grainy picture. He's not in an outfit. He's not in a costume. But let me ask you a real question. Are we in the wrong that Dave Chappelle is like a national icon that most people know who he is? Or is there like a chunk of the people that really don't know who he is?
Chappelle's show was iconic.
Right.
For everyone.
Right. I mean, when I was in school, if you didn't know the quotes, then you were left out.
Yeah. Like, I just can't even fathom it.
Right. Malk, actually, it's so funny you say that because the original clip that went around had a picture of him in the Clayton Bigsby. Yep, I knew you were going to say that. It had the Clayton Bigsby picture, but that was actually not true. This was the picture they showed. It was a picture of his real face. I don't know where that came from. It's so funny you say that because I shared that to Lamb.
And when I heard the Clayton Bigsby thing,
yeah,
For those that don't know, that was Dave Spr I think it was his first episode, him playing a black white supremacist.
Yes.
And he had a little bit of makeup on
Yeah,
and
he looked
stuff like
older,
that.
right? Yeah.
And so, like, I was like, okay, I kind of could maybe see that.
So that's we almost
If you wanna
shared
promote
that.
that.
We almost shared that video of him with the Clayton Bigsby. But then once we dug, every other video was this. And so it was very evident that this was the actual recording. This was the actual picture they showed. I don't know where that came from, and I don't know why somebody dubbed over like the Clayton Bigsby face, but this was the actual picture they showed. This is a clear, recognizable picture of Dave Chappelle. And I just was stunned because even if you don't watch the show, I struggle to understand how you couldn't know who he is. Didn't he win like a Mark Twain award?
Yeah,
I mean,
recently.
Right, so I'm saying it's not even like literature people shouldn't know who he is. Unbelievably inexcusable for me.
And then when he left Chappelle's show, like just abruptly, it was national news.
Right, 100%. He was everywhere. He went to Africa. Everybody knew exactly what, he was like, he was like the most famous person ever to leave a show. It was crazy. All right, next in the old grab bag.
Coming up.
My
least favorite holiday of the year.
The one you got to spend a bunch of money for no damn reason because they say you got to. Kraft is helping you out. Lance,
I know. This might be my go-to move.
This way you don't got to spend all that moolah. Kraft's hooking you up.
Cook at home.
With some pink mac and cheese for Valentine's Day. And not only that, it's candy. So it's
Is it candy flavored?
I think it's candy flavored. It's giving away $1,000 pink.
Is it Smarties?
Candy Kraft mac and cheese. I have no idea.
Oh, I see Smarties on the table. Is why, or the heart things.
Receive a classic box of macaroni and cheese along with a candy flavor packet that turns the traditionally orange dish pink and adds a hint of sweet flavor. Lamb, real quick, are you in or out?
I'm so far out, it's unbelievable. I don't really care for mac and cheese to begin with, let alone candied flavored mac and cheese.
You don't like mac and cheese?
Not really. Doesn't really do anything for me.
Real mac and cheese? Kraft mac and cheese? Any mac and cheese?
Doesn't really do anything for me. I grew up not eating it. Like, my mom hates cheese generally, so like we never had this growing up.
I'm so stunned by that. I don't think I've met anybody that ever didn't like mac and cheese.
So I don't dislike it.
Yeah, just not love it.
I'm just never looking to have it.
Fascinating. So I'm kind of in. I at least want to try a bite. I love mac and cheese.
I would try a bite.
I love mac and cheese, and the fact that I just found out that it's a normal box of mac and cheese, and then they add something goofy in there.
Just sell the packets then.
I would hope that means they tried it and they thought it was at least edible. That kind of goes with if you don't want to buy champagne, Lamb's also got you hooked up.
Yeah, we got Pepsi going to be release Coca-Cola.
Oh, nice.
Which,
there it is.
again, looks great on paper written out, but should Pepsi really be selling Coca-Cola?
It's unbelievably stupid from a PR standpoint. If you're Pepsi Cola, which nobody calls it that, Coca-Cola is Coke.
Yeah.
And you'll never convince me other. Even though if somebody says like that's just their thing. You're going to call it I don't even know. How would you pronounce that?
Coca-Cola.
That is so stupid.
I know.
So stupid. Okay,
but it's hot chocolate flavored. It's like chocolate and cola mixed together.
Now, as stupid as I think the name is,
delicious, probably.
I do want to try it. So you got your girl coming over. She wants a fancy dish. You got pink mac and cheese. You got a hot chocolate Pepsi. She vomits immediately and leaves.
What didn't Stacy say? Mamba, didn't she say last show that Pepsi and milk is a thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing. We looked it up, and people like it. So
what do you think about this Pepsi and milk?
Then or this over ice cream?
This is a Coca-Cola float.
Whoa. I love it. All right, next story. Love the story. Kind of shit. We almost put it in the positive. GM to go all electric by 2035. Phase out gas and diesel engines. I thought this was really fascinating, only in the sense of this is a major company deciding that by 2035, you're not going to buy anything. You're not going to be able to buy a car from them unless it's all electric. That to me that's 15 years, 14 years from now. That's cool
and
soon.
GM isn't that's not like a car brand.
Right.
Like, all Corvettes are going to be electric by 2035.
Yeah.
GM there's really 3 car companies in the U.S., and GM, I think, is number 2.
Yeah. And not to mention, this isn't like Volvo or something like some other like edgy company trying to be. This is a major, major production. Says GM is also working on clean technology for heavy-duty trucks. I just love it. I think it's really great. I think it's kind of like the only reason we kind of stick to this crap, in my opinion, is because the oil companies say we have to. That's really how I feel about it. And that kind of goes along with my other story right here. Shareholders create coalition to pressure Exxon for change. Now, here's what I'll say. Normally, as human beings, when we get all wound up and we're marching in the streets and we're saying, hey, we don't want this, they don't give a shit. They don't listen to anything. But who they do listen to, Lamb, is people that got a lot of money.
Yeah, I was doing some quick back of the envelope math here.
Yeah.
135 people that represent $2 trillion.
That's insane.
So each one of those is over 10 billion, right?
Yeah.
By my math?
I don't know.
Yeah, because that would be 1.3 trillion.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're talking, what's that? Almost 15 bill a person on average?
That's crazy talk. So more than 130 investors are forming a coalition to push ExxonMobil into making sweeping change, including refreshing its board and focusing more on energy transition. People with they say this Friday. The group, which includes pension funds.
I don't like this second one at all.
Faith-based investors. Yeah, it's good. Like people that
I
just
hope that's not like church related. I hope that's just they have faith in this company.
I think that's what it is, but I'm hoping that as well. Came together in 2 months since two activist investors called on Exxon to cut costs and invest in more profitable drilling and clean energy. Here's what I'll say. I root for the Washington football team, and the owner's been catching flack for 15 years that the name Redskins was racist. He went out, had a poll done. They said it wasn't. He just has said, I'll never change the name. He quite literally said, I'll never change the name. Maybe a year later, all of his board members, same type of things like this, they got together and they said, we're not going to give you any more money until you change the name. Guess what? 2 months later, the name was changed. So for me...
Are they sticking with that, by the way?
I don't know. As if people say that they might switch it. People say they're still throwing out ideas, but the owner really likes just Washington football team, which makes me vomit. So Exxon, for me, has been widely criticized because they've had PhD people come out and just had a lot of misinformation spread on purpose.
All the oil spills.
All the oil spills and how they're looking into energy stuff and how oil's really good and all this stuff. And they've been pushing that shit for years.
Clean oil. We got clean oil.
Clean oil. And I'm like, look, man, if this company just stopped being a bunch of punks and just put their money into clean ideas, I think they could probably do it and just turn around and start making money off that.
Make even more. Why not be the first one to really be the green thing and then just run the show?
Yeah, Exxon did not immediately respond for comment. I think that's important because this is not a small request. This is not a small amount of people. The company itself is so unbelievably dug in on sticking to oil for the next million years that it tells me that the people at the top are old and out of date and they only care about the dollar. And I would like to see somebody push these people in another direction. It's crazy to me that billionaires would be the people. It does tell me that they've got to have something in their back pocket, right? Like they wouldn't push this hard if it wasn't going to make them money in the future.
I'm reading this. I got a stake in this.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, the California State Teachers Retirement Fund apparently has some is a seat on the Exxon board.
Oh, all right. So Lamb's heavily involved here.
Yeah, so you're welcome, folks. We're going green.
Yeah, this is something that I just think is long overdue, so had to feature it here. All right, let's get into, this is not quite sports ball, so we're not going to do that, but I did think this was funny. The Washington Wizards won a game last night, their fourth game out of their...
So much defense in this game.
So much defense. The final score of this game was... 149 to 146, and that did not go to overtime. So almost 300 points in basketball, which is...
In regulation. That's got to be close to the record, if not the record.
It's insanity. After the game, the Wizards, who have been on an awful losing streak, and everybody expected them to be good this year, and they have not been, said that he finally had himself a White Claw. It made me laugh hearing the coach say that for two reasons. One, I think he said it because he thought it was hip.
Yeah.
Which makes me laugh. And two, it makes me think that, he's so serious about winning that he wouldn't enjoy a White Claw unless he earned a White Claw.
That actually kind of reminds me of a story. My mom, working, growing up, never drank when I was a kid. Never. I don't remember seeing her have a sip of alcohol from ever. And then one time I was in high school. She comes home. She'd been working this project at work, this big, huge party that she had to do. I had to go help her, and we're literally setting up chairs the night before. Comes home, she's like, I'm having a Mike's Hard Lemonade, and reached in the fridge and opened the Mike's and just like guzzled half of it and was like, like she was so excited for it. Like,
I'll show them.
I lost my mind though. I'd never seen my mom have alcohol, and it's just like
just
straight
couldn't
to
wait
the face.
pound it. It's actually hilarious.
But you wanted a Mike's. That's what you wanted.
I totally respect it. I totally respect it. All right, let's get into our final story here. And this is something we weren't even sure if we were going to talk about today, but I actually do want to talk about it. All right, so real quick here. Actually, we should pull up his tweet too. Actually, I can just find it on my phone. So this guy is, if you don't know, I don't know who he was either. His name is Vicstar. He is a popular Call of Duty streamer. He has 7 million subscribers on YouTube, which, if you don't know, that's an actual metric. Fuck them. That's a lot.
That is a real YouTube number. Like, some of the biggest people that I follow, tech people, don't have that many.
Okay, and Malcolm just dropped, like, for no reason whatsoever, just decided to come in here and drop actual knowledge on you, Lamb. He's
Third highest, just regulation.
Third,
Seventh highest, including overtime.
I'm saying it's just bizarre. That's Wikipedia. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, 149 and 146 is actually insane. Okay, so this guy is named Vicstar. He's a really popular YouTuber, 7 million subscribers. He mainly plays Call of Duty, a really popular game with a zillion people playing it right now. Warzone played by more than 50 million people worldwide. The problem is there are so many people cheating at this game that normal people, and you can't even tell if you're getting cheated, normal people are getting run over by people cheating, and the company that owns it has really not done anything. They said they've banned 70,000 cheaters so far, right? In this video that we're about to watch for a second, this guy cheating is not even quiet about it. He's actively streaming. And the article goes on to say that this is not only him. They said that there was so many popular streamers that over the last couple months, every now and again, one will go because people have found out they're cheating. It's not even like a secret. To me, it's like they don't want to introduce anti-cheats in the game because they said it'll unfairly ban really good players. So they'll say, like, basically what they're saying is, like, if you're a really good shooter and they start to see that your percentages are really high and you hit everything, they'll think you're cheating, you're banned. I think that's hogwash. I really, really do.
There has to be a way to tell if it's like if there's some modification to the game.
I 100% agree. Not to mention if you're going off percentage of shooting, okay, you don't think that you could go off like lifetime percentages? You don't think that you could look at this guy and say, okay, look, we've looked and his percentages are twice as high as everybody else. I mean, I even imagine like really good shooters, they miss, right?
Theoretically, I guess in this game, couldn't you just pop off a few and purposely miss?
That's true. And he tweeted out the facts that players can live stream themselves blatantly hacking with zero repercussions blows my mind. So he goes on to talk about the guy right here that we're going to watch. As the world goes forward and everybody's playing from a PC, this is going to be a massive issue, but this is going to be a massive issue in anything competitive. If a computer is involved, it's going to be an issue.
And you said the big issue with this right now is money.
Yeah.
Is that they have tournaments and people have been caught cheating during the tournament.
Right, and that's actually one of the main issues is that people are cheating during tournaments and that they're getting away with it and that nobody's doing anything. So we're going to watch this one. This guy, he dies to a player. I just want to watch like a minute of it.
Like, this is what it's like. Oh my god! This is what we're going up against.
This guy is live streaming.
Bro, he's not even.
He can see everybody on the map.
In his thing.
And not to mention, not only can he see everybody on the map and where they're located, he also has what's called an aimbot, so he can automatically aim in on their head. Now, here's the problem.
He's probably not happy.
If you get killed by this person and you click in, there's nothing other than the fact that he went to his stream now and you can see this. That's where he's on. He's on his stream. This is not like a pro.
Oh my god, he's nuts.
Look, you can see right through the door. He can see everybody. There's the auto aim immediately just locked on. You can see it just swivel back and auto aim to this person.
You hear him? Okay.
Behind you, see how he just whipped like that? Like he just can feel it, or his game just knows there's somebody there.
I'm not even watching the game. I'm watching his stream.
I knew this was a massive issue, and even Irish just said that he's having trouble with the same thing. But apparently, this company, I don't know. Okay, so this is my question. I'm just gonna let this play in the background with no noise. Here's my question. Do you think they're not banning these people because it's good for the game in a sense of like there's a lot of people playing and they don't want to get rid of people? Do you think it really is that hard to catch them, or do you think it's just not a priority?
They don't ban people for cheating.
What? He's not.
It's weird to
I
me
did those.
because
Oh, he's
the
about
amount
to
of
do
people
it.
cheating,
Are you guys
even
ahead
if
of me
it's
on this stream?
what you consider a lot,
Right.
is
Well,
a very
watch on the
small
stream, watch on the
Problem.
stream, it hits different.
like,
Johnny
generally
Lee.
speaking.
Oh! Bro,
But those people, there's this guy right here.
Nearly died.
If we look,
Just
and after he
reminds
brings
me
this guy
of
back, he has 21
Oh my
kills
God.
in a lobby of 150 people. So he has already taken out a
He's
seventh,
ruined 21 people's
a
games.
seventh of the lobby,
Yeah.
right? And so maybe he's not a massive percentage, but he's taking out a massive percentage.
So his impact
every
is
lobby.
His impact is
He can see
massive.
what every
Right.
single
So,
player on the server
In
is.
my head, it's
Facebook.gg
has
is
to
an
be
offensive
the
client
game,
tag.
the people just
He,
not
like,
wanting to.
No wonder
do
the lobby's
anything
dead
about
by the
Right.
time it's a fourth
Like
server. This guy can
laziness.
see
I agree.
like, every single.
It has to be
What?
laziness.
What are you
Like,
shooting at?
it must be very difficult to do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it can't be done.
Yeah.
But it must be
But what's this
very
guy's
difficult to do, and they must have
It's
to
lazy.
it would either cost a huge amount of money,
Mr.
That-
Sleazy.
you just hit it.
like they would
Yeah,
have
why
to have a
not-
ton of
why is that not
programmers
coming up on here?
constantly sweeping the
think I
the
called
stuff
it.
and finding things and you
I'm
know.
so done.
I just you hit the nail on the head though.
so dumb.
Apparently, other games
Why
that
is it
have
not
been really
coming up when I
famous and
search
made
it
a lot
up?
of money have implemented these cheats, but people have said they're very expensive. These anti-cheat programs are
They
very
think you're
expensive. I
cheating.
think that's actual
Just
bullshit, but
because
that's
one
just
of
my
the
personal
micro
opinion.
penis.
Here's the other problem,
No,
man.
he's not-
You don't
just
even
goes-
have to be
there's
a
loads of
smart
people
guy to
watching
get
your
one of
stream,
these.
man.
It's
They
not even
think
as
you're
if these
cheating.
people are designing these cheats themselves. They're quite literally going onto
They're in
websites,
denial.
just downloading
They're
them,
in
putting
denial.
them in their game, and then they start to
Alright,
play.
He's pulling up streams.
Um,
He's pulling up streams. We don't think
to
you're cheating.
me-
We know.
So like if I've never played this game, not for 1 second ever. If I went on and I got as many cheats as I could get,
Right.
like this auto aim and maybe
Wall
extra
hacks.
health and
Yeah.
like all these things.
Oh, should we mute the video? I thought we did mute it.
Oh,
Yo,
maybe
can I report?
This
I'm
this
reporting video.
this is potentially.
I can't even believe you can hit. Oh, yeah, there we go. There you go.
all right. If I go into this with knowing almost nothing about a shooter, am I immediately okay?
100%. For a multitude of reasons. One, if you know where people are through the walls, the advantage is so unbelievably great because in a game where it only takes maybe 4 or 5 bullets to put you down, you knowing that he's about to turn the corner is everything. It's the difference between a win and a loss in a fight. So it's like, oh, I'm already aimed. He comes around the corner. He starts to get shot. By the time he looks at you, he's already about to hit to me. So look, see that guy right there. He didn't know he was about to turn the corner, and he did. So he has an easy automatic kill right there. So you would be immediately great. Now, if you don't play the game, you might like this guy. He doesn't even win this game, which is unbelievably embarrassing. Right? Like so now he's at 25 people. Now he's killed. Like I said, quite literally a seventh of the map. He's killed everybody. For me, going forward, if games don't address this, I think it's going to quite literally run him into the ground. This guy has announced that he is no longer going to play this game, which makes him tons of money. He is quitting it to play something else because that's how unbelievably frustrated he is.
I would have to imagine, especially if you try and make money at this, like, and your whole job is predicated on you being good at it.
Yeah.
And you just keep getting rocked by like people that aren't good.
Yeah,
like
it's really frustrating. Let me ask you another question. This is actually, I guess, to me, a bigger. I think he actually dies to this gas. What a fucking bonehead. Oh, he does. What an actual idiot. Yeah, he's just actually they're losing, and he actually died. You're so embarrassing, dude. You lost the game on it.
that's how. So he's obviously not a great player.
He's a moron. So my question is, and I guess I don't expect you to understand and answer this fully, but I don't understand the personality type that has, like he just said, where is the fun? And I understand it might be fun for a game. Okay, a game.
Yeah, there's times you played like other things with like invincibility mode
Right,
on
for
or
sure.
something.
Yeah.
Like SimCity, and you get a ton of money and you build up
Yeah.
like this crazy building.
And there was always like
Yeah.
God mode in
Yeah.
every single game. You could have like a character, right? But my point is going against a lot of people and doing this doesn't showcase any skill, and I would imagine is at some point mind-numbing. But I just, as a human being, I love the competition. I think the only reason you play video games is because you like competition.
Mm-hmm.
You've eliminated that for yourself.
Now, is there a monetary component for this cheater?
No.
Is there like anything that he can like get to a certain level, and because of that, then opens doors that might not be open to him?
The only thing that I think he could possibly open doors for himself is if he was streaming and somehow he was able to disguise all of his cheats and he could
Like pretend to be good.
and work his way up the leaderboards and people could find out about him. And that actually has happened. The game I play, Apex specifically, they have a top 500 leaderboard. 2 people in the top 10 were just booted. Those people put in, I'm not kidding you, hundreds of hours to get there. So they're cheated all the way to the top and continue to cheat for months, at least a month. They continued to cheat without getting caught, and then they finally got caught. So it is a little bit tough, I think, for these companies to catch it. For me, like I've talked about in the show before, and we work on Twitch, there's not a lot of good games coming out, and the games that are out are so ridden with these issues, it makes it almost impossible to even enjoy playing. Not to mention, think about as a player, you're playing and you get killed, you get wiped by a team. The immediate thought in your brain that maybe you were cheated, even if you weren't, starts to become so unbelievably toxic that you don't even enjoy playing because every time you die, you're worried that you were taken, you were robbed, you were just...
Yeah. Didn't you say, is it this the game where there was like some sort of weird like weapon combo that people were rolling around in, driving like a vehicle and blowing people up or something?
It was, they had the DMR for a while that was so unbelievably powerful that people just had that and these two guns and you could just spray everybody. It was so unbelievably powerful. They said if you weren't running that, you didn't have a chance.
Yeah. Wasn't there a thing with the vehicles too? You could just like run people over and if you got like a truck or something.
Yeah. So the problem,
it couldn't be destroyed.
Right. It was a truck that had a ton of life, and if you just touch somebody with a vehicle, it instantly killed them. So people were just driving around. That was an issue for a long time, but you at least had a counter to that, which is you carry C4 or rocket, you could at least blow it up. So there was something you could do about it. Again, there is no way to even tell if you got hit by a cheater. I only bring this up because I think we're gonna probably talk about it more. I just wanted your opinions on it because you don't play video games, and I feel like it is going to be such a rampant problem going forward that if it's not addressed, I think could absolutely kill a market like this. It's the only thing people are talking. Literally, I bring it up. Irish's first thing is like, yo, this game is trash because it's nothing but cheaters. It's the only thing people associate with it. So at this point, it's like they don't want to spend any money to fix it. And they come out and said, oh, yeah, we're really aware of it, and we're taking a lot of time. And at the same time, every week they release things like, here's a new skin that you can pay for your character. Here's a new bullet you can pay for your character. Here's a new gun. So they have no problem pumping that out. They're just pumping those out, but no updates for cheating. I don't know. It's just on Twitch, it's hard for me to ignore it.
Maybe we can set it up so like the game can like electrocute you.
I like that.
If it finds you cheating, just
that.
literally through your mouse,
I better.
And then your hands like stuck like that, and you can't use it
up
anymore.
your whole computer, dude.
Yeah,
I want that because here's the problem: you could just go and start a new account. So what I want them to do is
melts it from the inside.
That's what I want.
Irish, can that happen?
Yeah, can we do that? Can we set it up so if somebody cheats, it just melts the computer into the ground?
Maybe not into the ground. I'm just fine with the insides.
Yeah, just destroy it.
Yeah,
just like ruin it so they can't use it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You can't even open a Word document ever again.
Not to mention, here's the other thing, and this is important to say. Him and I'm sure a mass amount of other people use this as income. And the game that I watch is a smaller game, but they have these tournaments, and they say these tournaments quite literally keep some of these people afloat. I mean, these are like B and C level gamers that don't win a lot, that don't have a team, that don't have a sponsor, and so they're grinding 60, 70 hours a week to be good at a game in which they hoping to win a tournament, and then these players go into these Call of Duty tournaments and there's cheaters and they're taken from them. To me, like, that's a lawsuit at a certain point, right? I mean, you're literally taking money out of people's hands because they're cheating. And I just think I think if Call of Duty doesn't get control of it immediately, they're going to be sued. And that's how I really feel about it. I feel like that's the next thing.
Especially if you don't have any money, you can do whatever you want.
Right.
But the second you put money involved in this and tournaments and things like that, then it gets real shady.
Real dicey.
And you're like, maybe do these people work for Call of Duty? They're just like winning the money back? Like,
yeah, hey, that'd be really shiesty. All right, I think we're going to roll out on that lamb, but we got a good show coming up on Thursday. You want to talk about
ourselves a guest.
Yeah, we got a guest. We got another streamer.
Passion Pod. You'll see it on the Instagram probably right after the show. I'll post it with the link to his. He focuses on talking about to different people about their passions.
Yeah.
Every podcast is different passions, and just what led him to that passion. So we're going to talk to him about some of his passions, some of our passions.
There you go.
And maybe a few games in there.
Maybe throw a few games. We know that you guys tune in not to see everybody else. So I'll have him on for a segment, play some games, talk to him for a little bit, and then we'll do our own show.
We're going to try Zoom.
Try Zoom. Friday as well, Sports Ball. We're having a guest on. We're going to talk all sorts of goofy prop bets for the Super Bowl, and we're also going to play a game called Is It a Baseball Player or Is It a Porn Star? Please, you guys do not want to miss that this Friday. Is it a baseball player or is it a porn star? that's real because there are so many baseball players' names that sound exactly like porn stars. So we're going to have some fun with it. Thursday and Friday, double guests this week. Big shows coming out. As always, guys, appreciate you guys hanging in. Hope you guys enjoy the content. We are going to raid somebody because that's what we do. Hopefully this time the person that we raid is thankful and actually appreciates it. The last time the person
People don't seem to understand how raids work.
didn't even have his chat pulled up. What a schmuck. So let's see who we got here. So we got this guy up here with 7 people we could drop in. He might kind of know what's going on. The guy below him, I am Fado's got 2 people, which are probably both him.
We tried him before, right?
Oh, that's right. Okay, we did.
And we did Zerko before.
We did Zerko before.
Yeah, let's try this guy.
Yeah, let's try this guy.
Kobe Bryant?
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant.
It could be Brian.
Could be Bryant.
Could be somebody else.
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. All right, guys. If you don't know the deal, stick in for 10 seconds here. Drop in on this fool. Drop in on the raid. Say what's up to this guy, and then you can bounce out of here. Give us 5 seconds here. Don't run. Don't run.
Brain.
Could be brain. Could be brain. 5 viewers. Let's see. Hey guys, thanks for following us along. Another good clip here. Make sure to catch us out on Twitch and hit that subscribe button right here.